Good evening and welcome to Wolfe County Wolves Esports action here from Wolfe County High School. Today's matchup features the Wolfe County Wolves Blue and the Johnson Central. So let's take a look here at our champ selection. Okay, looks like the blue team has banned Yasu and Vayne. And Johnson Central has banned Nasus and Oriana and Brand. And back to the blue team, they banned Jarvan. You want to go ahead?
So, first pick for blue team, you have the top laner selecting as their jungler, Nunu. Meanwhile, for Johnson Central, you have their top laner selecting Alawi, a heavy bruiser top laner. Does a lot of damage, really scary in team fights, usually as her ulti. You have the Xin Zhao as their jungler as well, good poke on him. The Draven pick locked in for ADC for blue team. Draven's a very aggro bot laner. Very up-in-your-face kind of guy. If he gets that early lead, it's pretty much game over. Pretty hard to shut him down when he gets fed. Picking for blue team now, we have the mid laner, who goes with his signature Kennen, one of his favorite champions to play. Very scary ultimate. He manages to land that. He can get off a 5-man stun if he plays it right. Now we go back over to Johnson Central, who appear to be locking in. This is the last of their pick for the first round of picks, as they select Katarina for the mid lane. A very bursty mid lane assassin, very mobile, does a lot of damage in team fights with her ulti as well. As we go back to the ban phase now for Johnson Central, with their top laner, who is banning Kassadin, which, oddly enough, doesn't seem like a necessary ban because blue team's already selected their mid laner. But whatever they need to go by, I guess. We go back to blue team now, who are banning Kai'Sa, which is a good ban. Very strong ADC. One of the harder people for Draven to deal with. We go back to the last ban for Johnson Central again. As their last ban is Vladimir.
Absolutely livid.
Interesting bans for Johnson Central, to say the least. A good portion of them focused towards the mid laners. And as we finish up the last ban, this one on blue side or blue team with, Wolfe County Blue, as they finish out with a Lucian ban. Two ADCs banned for the last ones, which are both very good bans. Go back to the pick phase now. Johnson Central getting the first one of the second round of picks, which will be a Twitch ADC. And we go back to the ADC for blue team, as they since Draven's already locked in, the ADC is probably going to pick their support players. Changing here, as they lock in Alistar for their support. And the last of the picks will be going towards the top laner for blue side for Cody. He's trying to find somebody as he picks Yorick to go against Alawi. I haven't seen him playing any Yorick this season, so that'll be interesting to watch. And the last pick for Johnson Central, as they finish it up, they round it out with a Leona support. At least they should. Yeah. Yep, they lock in with the Leona. Both teams have a pretty fair amount of tank on them between them. In terms of individual lanes, however, that's going to be interesting to deal with. It can go either way very easily on either side. They have a lot of variation in terms of their team comps. So it'll be interesting to see how that goes.
So the match is set. If you're just now joining us, we're going to watch the Wolves Blue take on Johnson Central. Make sure you like and subscribe this video. Keep up with the Wolfe County Wolves all season long. We're getting ready to enter our 3-minute delay. You want to go quick?
Yeah, go ahead. Sure, go ahead and do that.
So the Wolves Blue starting lineup today, we're going to start in the top lane with Freedy Cougar. That's Cody Sargent. Then in the bot lane, we have Jarrett White as the ADC and Jeremy McKinney as support. Then mid lane, we've got Brendan Bush and Cameron Caskey in the jungle. And we'd like to take a second to thank our sponsors today, Appalachian Wireless, Farmers and Traders Bank, Licking Valley, Rural Electric, Whitaker Bank, and Sweetheart by Stephanie.
Just go back to,
Based on the matchup here, from what I'm seeing, both sides have the potential to snowball very easily. Again, there's a pun there because they have the new again from last time. In terms of the CC, however, I would say that based on what I'm looking at, Wolfe County Blue should have a slight advantage in the CC, varying between the Kennen Ultimate and Nunu Ultimate, which are both very good AoE style CC ultimates, with Nunu having a slow that explodes, dealing a massive amount of damage, and Kennen having a electric static shock field that you can activate a bunch of stuns off of to potentially get a 5-man stun off. Their team has a lot of burst in their team comp too, though. However, they have with Alawi's ultimate being her slam, where she has a large amount of tentacles that do a lot of damage, and Katarina's daggers, and when she activates her ulti, that she can throw in a group of people and do a lot of damage to shred potentially the enemy team. Other than that, however, though, the lanes do seem fairly balanced. The ADC for blue team should be slightly more damage based than the Twitch because of the way that he can. Although, however, Twitch has been known in the past to be a slight counter to Draven, so he's going to have to compensate for that by maybe having a couple extra ganks come towards bot lane to give Draven that extra advantage that he needs. In terms of dealing with the top lane, though, York is going to have to play a little safer against Alawi, trying to avoid some of those some of her tentacle slams if possible, and as many of her soul ripping ability as possible as well. So it'll be a very interesting matchup, especially the team fights between these two teams. If blue team can lock them down pretty easily, they should have a pretty fair chance of coming out victorious.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like Johnson Central has much CC in their way. That Leona ult and her Q, which the Q is only one person target, so it's going to be hard for Johnson Central to lock blue team down. And Alistar coming in with that ult after a Nunu or Kennen, they'll be able to target just about anybody on that team and shut them down immediately.
Yeah.
So if Johnson Central can't get a couple early kills in every team fight, it looks like they'll be fighting at a disadvantage.
All right, as the last few seconds tick down for the spectator delay, we'll be getting ready to hop over into the game now as Johnson Central goes up against Wolfe County Blue. I clicked the right thing, right? There it is. we finally load into the game now. Both teams getting loaded into their fountain as the game is about to start. In a couple seconds, the walls will drop, and the teams will now move to their respective positions. Okay, yeah, that's...
30 seconds until
There we go.
Wolfe County Blue starting on red side of this match. Red, yeah, they have the red spawn on the bot side. Meanwhile, Johnson Central is starting on blue side of the map. Seems that we have something going on here with Kennen staying towards the pixel brush, waiting to ward that. It's a good strategy. A lot of people have been doing that recently. Get that extra vision. As York sits and camps his blue buff. Katarina goes to the mid lane. As we see a potential ward being dropped by Nunu as he goes into the enemy jungle, moving away pretty immediately, hopefully not being landed. Oh, as the red team seems to follow in with him.
Looks like he extended a bit too far on that one. That's
Also appears that, as they fall off pretty quickly. The game has been paused. We'll have to...
Looks like they had an Ethernet disconnect, and that looks like why Cameron may have overextended there.
Alright, as the game is continuing now, the champions are in lane, junglers are farming, and it is now beginning. Both junglers or both sides helping their bot lane or helping their junglers get their bot side farm. Other laners being pretty conservative. Cannon being a little aggro in the mid lane, however. Alawi moving towards top, letting a tentacle set to the side. York farming pretty easily. Managing to dodge a slam there pretty easily. Good enough. And staying mid. Managing to poke down a little bit here and there on the Katarina. Junglers are on their sides, not doing anything. Nothing's going on very much at this part of the game, however. It just started allowing getting that slam on York, summoning his ghouls with that little bit extra poke. Trades are going along pretty evenly in all the lanes from as far as you can tell. Xin Zhao, however, is now in the bot lane. Jungle. He manages to secure a Scuttle Crab, giving that slight advantage to farm. Both Scuttle Crabs being taken by Johnson Central. As he moves towards the mid lane, going in for an early gank on the Kennen. He goes in for the dash. Kennen having to flash, throw his barrier, getting ignited by Katarina as he walks away and sadly gets killed for that early gank. York in top lane being slammed by Alawi. Being put below half health as he has to move back, play defensive.
Looks like Cameron may be getting caught on this invade here. Well, nope, Xin Zhao stopped at that camp and he took the red buff, so not as much of an advantage, but definitely taking back some of that from that first blood.
As Nunu moves into the top side jungle, going back towards his blue buff. To secure it, Katarina backing in the mid lane. Both bot laners pushed. Draven and Alistar pushed slightly further ahead in the bot lane. Have to be a little more cautious in the event that they might get random or surprise ganked by the Xin Zhao. York in the top lane, moving some of those tentacles as he pulls some ghouls back up. Alawi having to back off a little defensively, trying to freeze the lane. Ken in mid lane as Katarina's back, so he's going to have a chance to get some free farm. As Nunu now moves.
Looks like Xin Zhao is going to be moving down to bot to try to gank, but the blue team does have vision.
Leona landing a Q on the Draven.
And
Draven having to run away, having to flash, getting ignited by Leona as Talon hits and getting killed by the Leona Ignite. Alistar having to flash away as well. Oh, and we have a Nunu and York gank in the top lane as Nunu misses his large snowball and forcing Nunu to flash as he dies to the Alawi. York having to flash over wall, getting almost slammed by that tentacle from the passive. As Ken is getting ganked a second time in the mid lane by the Xin Zhao, having to dash, getting knocked up, Katarina hitting with burst and managing to secure the kill on Kennen. It's 4-0 right now with a almost 2k gold difference in favor of Johnson County. This is not looking good for the first part for Wolfe County Blue.
Which Wolfe County Blue doesn't need to get down and out here. They definitely have a slower team comp than Johnson Central. Johnson Central definitely their advantage is going to come in the early game where they can shut everyone down. But once those team fights start happening, I think the Wolves Blue will catch back up.
Yeah, Wolfe County Blue does have a a larger late game team comp versus Johnson County. As we see York having to teleport top lane, Olawi having to back, Kennen pushing up a little harder in the mid lane, Nunu moving towards mid lane, go back towards his bot side jungle, and Kennen staying mid lane, trying to poke back the farm away from his tower. York getting a little bit of free farm top lane, as Twitch Twitch wards his dragon. We see Wolfe County Blue being pushed back on their bot side under their tower. Twitch and Leona having to fall back to let the minion wave push back up. We see Nunu moving towards bot lane, but it being warded pretty heavily means that he's not going to have a very successful chance to gank. So he's going back in as he moves back towards his side, potentially looking for a chance to back. York in the top lane pushed about halfway to the lane. Olawi being pushed slightly back, although having double buff, as York does land his E, followed by his ghouls, which target Olawi and are chasing her for some pretty decent amount of damage there. Kennen and Katarina in mid lane throws again. Kennen having it warded as Xin Zhao is pushed into his bot side jungle, moving towards mid lane. As we see York with some decent trades in the top lane as he manages to get a shield, or get Olawi trapped, but she manages to turn around going back in on York as he has to back off, and she trades a lot of damage to him. Okay, remove some of those tentacles. Kennen stays back in the mid lane, playing fairly passive now because of those two ganks that he received from the Xin Zhao. See bot lane blue, Wolfe County Blue, however, pushed back up in favor. We see a still 2k gold difference. In terms of farm, however, it seems like the farm is fairly even. Oh, actually, no. Yeah, the jungler farm. Oh, wait, we're about to see an engage here. We see Wolfe County's bot, support, and jungler getting caught out by Johnson County as they take out Nunu, as well as a 4-man engage, and as they take out Draven, Alistar having to run away, and Johnson County potentially going to secure an easy dragon here, as we see Kennen maybe being able to take a chance to steal it over the wall. They go back in, Kennen throwing his Q, doing some damage, but sadly not going to be able to get the dragon, as Johnson County secures the dragon. 6-0 with a 3k gold lead in Johnson County's favor. York having his ultimate, dealing pretty large amount of damage to Olawi there, having her to back off a little bit, as York backs up under his tower, potentially looking for a chance to maybe go back to Fountain. Kennen staying mid lane, landing some decent amount of poke on Katarina as she sits and farm, waiting for somebody to go back, moving up with her Shunpo as she has to back off. York top lane still moving a little more defensive, but staying back with still having a decent chance to farm. Johnson County's bot lane is also back to their Fountain. And Olawi taking a rather large amount of damage there in that last little bit of trade from top lane. York's ult does do a fairly large amount of damage. His Maiden is one of his more iconic abilities, of course, so he does have a fairly large amount of trade there. As we see Nunu coming in for the gank top lane, Olawi backing, York hitting her with the mark, and Nunu coming in, Olawi copying the ultimate, but not being able to do anything as York secures the kill with his last rites. So good job, first kill for Wolfe County there. And moving back to mid lane. Xin Zhao now moving out of his jungle back towards his top lane jungle as Kennen and Katarina slowly trade the mid lane. York getting some heavy damage on the tower top lane without having any resistance. Managing to take a tower plate at least before having to back off.
And the blue team's starting to make that gold lead disappear. It was up to about 3,700, and now we're back down to 2,200. So, like we said, the longer the game goes, the better the blue team's going to do here.
Seems we have a slight ward advantage, however, on red team. Red team having a rather noticeably larger amount of wards on their side of in the map overall. In terms of farm now, York's managed to catch back up slowly, only being 8 CS down. So both the junglers are even. Katarina having a 1 or 2 CS advantage over Draven, or over Kennen, but Draven having a rather noticeably large lead in CS over his Twitch. So even though he's having that early gank, he still managed to be very aggro on the bot lane, securing much more farm at this point than his ADC, or than his rival ADC, which is very good for Wolfe County Blue. Olawi in the top lane, pushed under tower, getting a couple of shots on it, trying to she secures a turret plating, having to back off as York manages to get on his farm up, throwing his ghouls onto Olawi. Those ghouls are really annoying to deal with, being any AD or be any champion. calm at this point. Nunu moving towards bot lane with the snowball. Is he looking for potential gank? Oh, as we might see, nope, he goes to the bot lane, but has to back off from the wards, so red team has or Johnson County has vision of his gank attempt there, sadly. Now the entirety of Wolfe County having to play a little defensive in this at this moment in the game. See Draven and Alistar farming fairly easily in the bot lane. Draven with a almost 20 CS lead on Twitch. See Katarina with a few CS lead. Nunu coming into the mid lane. Sadly, a snowball not connecting with Katarina. Backing off, managing to freeze the lane for his cannon while he's backed into the fountain. Xin Zhao moving towards bot lane as he puts a control ward down on the dragon. We see York top lane fending off for the Alawi fairly easily. Nunu in his top lane jungle farming wolves at this point as Twitch and Leona move towards the jungle for a sec, but that's just to lay down some wards as he move back to lane. And as well as Wolfe County Blue Team finally getting back into lane after having to back there for a second. In terms of item difference, Draven having a Vampiric Scepter and BF Sword. Some fairly large damage coming from... Oh, as we see some action in the top lane, Alawi activating her ulti as York coming in, Nunu landing the snowball, Alawi with the slam, but not being able to do enough damage to finish off York as Nunu gets that bite off and finishes off Alawi. That's a good gank. Two good ganks from Nunu in the top for the top lane. Kennen going back in the mid lane, managing to land his E as well as his Q for that stun. So that's a good combo there. Nunu going into the jungle, taking the Scuttlecraft from Xin as he lands a snowball going in on Xin Zhao.
Yep, looks like we're going to see our mid laners come up to try to...
Mid laners coming into the jungle to help. Kennen going out. Kennen landing a Q. Getting off by E. Flashing away. Getting hit by the Alawi. As we see Kennen ulti, but sadly too late as Nunu ults, but manages to take out the Xin Zhao. So a 1-for-1 trade. Nunu missing a snowball. Katarina shown pulling away. Again, Nunu having to flash. York flashing behind her. Throwing out the shield and finishing off with the Q. Good job on York with that follow-up there. Wolfe County Blue with a very good follow-up there, turning this game around from a 0-6 game to a 4-7 game within just a couple minutes. And that gold lead almost going away now, only down to a little over 1,000 gold difference. Oh, as Blue Team now also goes attempts to secure the Rift Herald.
Looks like Alawi is going to come down and try to challenge that Herald, but to no avail.
She misses the slam. York's maiden trying to finish off the kill as York's last right managed to finish it. Throwing up the wall to barrier or to get a little bit of distance between him and Alawi. He's throwing his E, which lands on Alawi, marking him for the maiden. You see Xin Zhao going in to help Alawi finish it off. Alawi landing the pull on Nunu over the wall. Getting a little bit of damage in there, but not enough to be anything threatening to him. His lane, we see Kennen landing a Q again on Katarina. Kennen doing very well in terms of poke in his mid lane. He did have that issue earlier where he got those two early ganks, but aside from that, he's still managing to hold his own very well in his lane. Bot lane for Johnson County just now coming back to lane, allowing for Draven to get some pretty steady farm ahead, even more than so than he was earlier. Draven almost at a 30 CS lead at this point. Twitch not being able to farm very well against Draven because that heavy amount of poke coming down from the bot lane.
And now we see Cody in the top lane actually even with Alawi.
In terms of the junglers now, Xin Zhao from Johnson County having a slight CS lead. We see Katarina with almost a 10 gold lead. As we said earlier, Draven with a very noticeable lead in the bot lane as York now surpasses Alawi in the top lane for farm. This is a very solid amount of damage. As we see the Alawi ulti coming from top lane. She manages to land a slam, igniting York for the finishing off with the kill. There's an excessively large amount of damage there. That ultimate from Alawi is just a force that you do not want to have to reckon with. Draven in the bot lane. Alawi pushing top lane now, potentially securing first tower. As we see Nunu going into the jungle, activating his ultimate, dealing a large amount of damage to Katarina as he bursts her down and secures the kill with Katarina trying to ult to no avail. We see Draven following, missing his ultimate, getting ignited by the Leona. Twitch sadly securing the kill. Twitch flashing, ignite, finishing him off though from Alistar. Kennen with the ultimate on Leona. Xin Zhao going in with the dash, managing to finish off Kennen. As we see Alistar and Nunu trying to take down the Leona. Xin Zhao being taken down by Nunu. As Alistar managing to knock back Leona. Nunu going back in to manage to get some distance. He's probably going to wait for his snowball to come back up. Leona trying to run away. She's running into the ally jungle. Oh, actually running under tower, scratched it to give a free kill to Nunu. So interesting. He's managed to make it an 8-10 game now with a still 1,500 gold lead in favor of Johnson County. But we have a Rift Herald being spawned down in the bot lane by Nunu. This is going to be a large amount of damage to this tower, as well as his tower rune, which does a noticeably large amount of damage. His Alistar following in, and they secure the, sadly not first tower, but towers are now even 1-1 for both teams.
And we're starting to get to that point in the game where we're seeing these team fights where blue team definitely has the advantage right there. They could, in the beginning, they were definitely at a disadvantage, but they locked everyone down and secured those kills.
Allowing the top lane, getting her ult off as she flashes for York, managing to miss her slam, but dying to the
Cody.
ultimate from Cody. Very well played there on his part, managing to dodge a good amount of her damage with her ultimate as well as her flash and slam attempt there. But we see, however, Johnson County going for another dragon. Kennan coming down from mid lane, waiting for as he doesn't throw his Q. Draven throwing his ultimate, but just coming short of hitting it before they manage to secure the dragon. So sadly, Johnson County's up 2 dragons to nothing on Wolfe County Blue, but Wolfe County does manage to take a large amount of damage on the tower from top lane. Might be able to be secured by Cody.
Looks like he is going to be able to secure that tower.
This is very good. That's a dragon for a tower. Would someone call that a decent trade? Others would not. But in terms of the overall grand scheme of the game, I would say being a tower up is definitely an advantage. As we see Katarina potentially going to mid lane, Xin Zhao coming through, but only going in for just a slight second as he goes back in, moving towards the top lane. Both mid lane moving back into mid lane as Xin Zhao crosses through mid lane, going towards his top jungle. You see Draven farming on his side of the bot lane, having to play a little passive there as he gets some slight farm. Let's check the farm difference on both teams. York getting back under Alawi slightly. It's a very close farm race in top lane, but we do, however, see that York is still 3-1, having to, surprisingly enough, having seen what he's had to deal with that Alawi in the top lane. Nunu, however, is 5-2, a 3-kill difference. And as we see, maybe another is going in again on the Alawi. Alawi activating her ulti, Nunu activating his ultimate as well, doing a large amount of damage, Alawi igniting York as York finishes her off with his last right Q and having to flash away from the side just as a little extra precaution. But never too safe to be sorry is always a good thing. Nunu now going to secure a free blue buff as Xin Zhao is in his top jungle securing a red buff. This is Johnson.
Yep, Johnson.
Johnson County having to back off from the bot lane a little bit.
And
a little passive now against
we
Jordan.
actually see for the first time in the game, the blue team has taken the gold lead and even up the kills.
Yeah, they've now managed to secure an even amount of kills, as well as securing a gold difference in their favor, too, mind you. We see Katarina potentially going in on Kennen, but not... Oh, as Kennen manages to dodge a good amount of her damage. Oh, we have the Xin Zhao engage. Kennen going in with the flash ultimate, managing to do a large amount of damage as securing Xin with his ulti. Oh, proto-belting away, but Katarina having to flash. Katarina does now a double up as Nunu secures the kill with his bite. And Nunu's bite, if he's fed, is a really disgusting ability. He just does a lot of damage. As we also see Draven and Alistar coming in from the bot lane as well, maybe helping to potentially secure a tower? No, as we see Yorick and Nunu securing a mid lane tower fairly easily without any resistance. Draven and Alistar having to move back into the bot lane. York activating his ultimate mid lane just for that extra amount of tower damage and push potential in the mid lane. Draven and Alistar moving back down to the bot lane now because they're carrying some free farm, having a chance to, while Twitch and Leona are back into Fountain. Now, as Jungler and York secure Scuttle Crab in the jungle, we see them pushing up towards the bot lane bush to secure or remove that ward. So good vision denial on Johnson County there from Wolfe County Blue, which is good. York now deciding to roam a little bit. That roam earlier definitely did help his team in the long run. As we see maybe a potential... Oh, we see a Wolfe County Blue going in with the engage on the bot lane, coming in from their jungle. Leona landing the Q on Draven, activating her ultimate, hitting on Alistar. Twitch throwing his casket. Nunu smiting Twitch. Twitch having to blow his heal. Leona going in. Nunu activating his ulti. Managing to get a large amount of damage off. Leona killed by Kennen coming in as well. Zinja having to flash as the three of them go down for the Draven, and Draven secures the kill on Twitch. Good engage from bot lane there. York's now at this point where he does a fairly large amount of damage, especially to Alawi. That early lead that she might have gone on him is completely gone now. York now is pretty much dominating the lane, even though he is pushed back at this point.
Yeah, we're really seeing Wolfe County Blue come into their own right here. This is the part of the match where they're going to excel. The later they get, these Johnson County champions will fall off pretty hard compared.
The difference now, 3-1 turrets in favor of Wolfe County Blue. A almost 2K gold lead in Wolfe County's favor with 14 to 11 kills. Let's check out the farm real quick, as we have a slight difference in farm, allowing almost a 180 in the top lane. But aside from that, the fact that York's 4-1 is really scary. So farm isn't a major difference there. Farm is even between junglers, but Nunu being 6-2 is really helpful there. Kennen being slightly behind on kills mid lane. Despite the fact of that, though, he is still doing pretty well on farm. He's at 95 at this point. Draven's still out farming Twitch. Twitch catching up a little bit, still managing to stay within about 20 farm difference to him, maybe 20 to 30 farm. And then the supports are just managing to do a pretty well job at their part. Supports both playing pretty well on both sides, but Leona having died twice does give Alistar, a slight higher value compared to her. So they might be seeing something going down here in the bot lane jungle, down in bot river, as we see York going. Oh, and see Wolfe County Blue trying to secure their first dragon of the game. The entire team converging onto it, allowing the top lane being completely avoid of the fact that they're doing so. Katarina moving to mid lane. As Draven manages to finish it off and secure completely free dragon. So now the dragon difference is only 2-1. Johnson County's favor. York moving back now through his top jungle back to his lane, maybe securing some slight jungle farm on the way there. We see bot lane still pushed pretty evenly. Kennen pushed pretty far into the mid lane, moving towards the enemy jungler's bot side jungle. Moving back in, we see Nunu coming into the mid lane, using a snowball to get his way through pretty quickly. Kennen moving towards the enemy bot lane, however. Is this looking for potential gain? He needs to watch out, though, because Xin Zhao is falling pretty close behind. As Kennen potentially sees so, he's now moving down towards his bot side with his ADC and support.
Yeah, this entire game, we've seen the Wolf Blue not really have good vision in the jungle, and it's really put them at a disadvantage in some of these ganks. They've missed out on a couple kills because of it.
Now seeing engage from the top laner, or from the Nunu top lane. York having to flash away, getting ignited by Alawi, finishing her off with the ultimate. Alawi following up. Nunu getting ganked now from the enemy mid lane Katarina. As we also see Nunu trying to snowball away, getting ignited from Katarina as she manages to land it. Is it going to finish off? And it's going to finish off Nunu. Sadly, that 2v1 sadly turned into a 2v2 or a 1v2 against with the addition of Katarina coming top lane.
Yeah, and we saw a big swing in gold right there. The Yorick and Nunu both had bounties on their heads.
Really large ones at that too, because that was York's second death.
Yep, and Nunu had a 900 gold bounty, I believe. So that was a big swing in gold right there.
Both teams now converging towards the mid lane / top lane area. York teleporting into the top lane into a Katarina and Alawi. Katarina Shun pulling over his wall, going in on him, bursting down, ulting. Kennen following in, Kennen going in, activating his ultimate on them. As Alistar follows in from behind, Kennen doing on automatic, Alawi landing her ultimate, managing to do an explosive amount of damage to their team comp. Kennen managing to get bursted, getting hurt, just destroyed by that Alawi ulti, but managing to secure the kill himself on Alawi, getting a 550 gold bounty in his favor.
Yeah, that Alawi ulti right now is scary when they go in. That was a 4v1, and Alawi did a ton of damage there to the blue team, so team fights may be more difficult than they had anticipated.
Now the gold difference has shifted back in favor of Johnson County, specifically with that 2v2 top lane earlier that we saw. Johnson County now up about 2,000 gold, but down still 1 kill. Towers are even, as Dragon's difference are 2-1 Johnson County. As we go to check their farm difference. Farm has now surpassed 200 for both top laners. The junglers are staying the same. Mid lane Katarina having about a 30 CS difference against Kennen as she helps Xin Zhao secure the bot lane tower. Alistar and Draven managing to force them off, however, so they're not going to successfully be able to get that tower at this moment. So good job from Wolfe County bot lane. Kennen managing to land a Q on the Twitch, doing a fairly large amount of damage with that one ability, too. So Twitch, however, this game hasn't been able to contribute very much to his team comp. Even though he's been 2-2, he's just been staying fairly passive. Having to do so, though, because of him going against a Draven. So there's that in that whole situation. Draven being 1-3, still doing a fairly large amount of damage.
Yeah, with
as well as having a 40 CS difference.
Starting to look like the one difference in this game that is putting blue team at the disadvantage is their lack of warding. The red team has just about the entire bot jungle warded, but blue team not really showing up, just 1 or 2 wards scattered across the map.
As we see now the entire Wolfe County blue team converging towards the mid lane. York activating his ultimate. We see a Nunu snowball being thrown in the mid lane. Nunu going mid, managing to miss the snowball, allowing getting hit with some snow. York marking her. Leona going in with the Q. Ultimate thrown by Alawi there. We see Katarina trying to burst the back line as she sadly doesn't do anything to run away. Alawi moving back in towards the mid lane. Nunu running through, missing his landing a snowball on Alawi. As we see a knockoff from Alistar, we see an ultimate from Kennen and as well as Nunu managing to take them down. Draven securing a kill on Twitch. We see York securing a kill on Leona. And we see Kennen killing Katarina, allowing Kennen to sadly finish Draven off as York finishes off the Alawi. Now they're moving towards a free Baron. They better be able to take as much advantage of this Baron as possible. That was a great team fight done by Wolfe County Blue there. Even though Nunu did manage to miss a couple snowballs, they still managed to turn around. The Alistar engaged, the York with the amount of damage, Kennen's ultimate, Nunu's ultimate, all great damage dealers, as was said earlier about them having a huge team fight potential there. Gold now shifted, as well as being the Baron secured by blue team. The gold difference now almost 2,500 gold difference in favor of blue team, as they now half their team having to back. York pushing back towards the mid lane, trying to get as much of that push power potential is done with having taken Baron there. But yeah, that one specific team fight there, however, almost entirely just switched it in blue team's favor. A very strong team fight, very good follow-up, very good coordination by blue team.
Yeah, and you can definitely tell blue team's communication really did it for them right there, because the gold lead before that they were down, so them being able to do that at a disadvantage with the gold was huge.
Xin Zhao going in to secure a third Drake for Wolfe County.
We might see another team fight here.
As you see Nunu moving in towards Alistar, staying a little bit aggro, staying back, throwing the Q, managing to miss it, however, and giving the Johnson County another dragon. That's 3 dragons to 1. But being that all 3 of the dragons that they have gotten are ones that are more, in terms of defensive, that's not been a very impactful dragon that they've managed to secure. Blue team now moving into the enemy jungle. Nunu throwing a snowball. Alistar coming in. Nunu missing the snowball, hitting it on the toad. That's, I don't know the name of that.
I think it's Gromp, maybe?
At Gromp, yeah. Allowing missing a tentacle pull. Katarina managing to throw a blade onto the blue buff. Nunu coming in with a bite, almost taking blue buff. As he manages to secure blue buff, we see an engage from Johnson County, knock up from 3 people. We see Kennen ultimate. We see Twitch following up, doing a large amount of damage to Nunu. We see York finishing to secure the kill on Katarina. York getting another kill on Xin Zhao. York managing to walk away, Kennen tailing the barrier. York getting a triple kill now on their team. As he gets York with a quadra kill, Alawi going and backing up, having to get the slam on her. Is York gonna? Yet York secures the pentakill for Wolfe County Blue. Absolutely monstrous play right there by Wolfe County. Giving York that pentakill, that just gives them a monstrous power spike they really didn't need at this point. But York really deserved that with that amount of damage that he put out right there. As he drops a ZZ Rot portal in the mid lane, as well as his maiden. A large amount of push from York there. Absolute monster play right there from Wolfe County. York just chunking those towers away. Alistar following up behind him. Yes, they secure an inhib tower mid lane. Taking that inhib. Almost all of red team is back up now. Alawi still having a 16-second cooldown. Leona sitting back watching as she can't be able to do anything against that. Johnson County having to play really defensive now as the Baron that Baron push as well as the ZZ Rot, and a York's push alone right there just give Wolfe County a monstrous advantage. Almost an 8,000 gold lead in favor of Wolfe County as he goes top and takes Xin Zhao's red buff. All 3 lanes now pushed in favor of Wolfe County blue team. York back in the top lane now, trying to get some of that pressure used up there. His maiden still sitting there with him by his side. Johnson County now moving up towards topside jungle. Katarina following up as well, slightly behind now. She moved towards this. We see Nunu towards Baron Pit, moving back towards this side of the jungle. York in top lane now having the back. York's going to be spending a lot of gold on that back now. Now York being 1,000 gold bounty on him at 11-2. That team fight specifically was just amazing. As well, if you notice too, now in terms of the mid laners, it's also swapped. Wolfe County Blues mid laners now managed to come back having 14 assists, dealing a lot of damage in those team fights. As Katarina's been put back pretty hard because of her lack of damage in those team fights. You see Draven now. Draven still having a fairly large lead in bot lane CS. But at this point in the game, CS isn't as big of it as it was in the mid game. Now as we see Nunu moving into the mid lane, pushing pretty hard, throwing a snowball, sadly missing them. As he manages to throw in a snowball barrage. York with another Q. Draven ulting. We see a Nunu ultimate, allowing ultimate following up. As we see Kennen following up with the ultimate, shredding Zinjao, shredding Twitch, getting Alawi for the triple kill. Leona sadly finishing him off as York secures the kill on Leona, and they push to end the game. This is going to be a fairly a monstrous win for Wolfe County as they go in. Nunu going in for the mark, and they end the game by taking Nexus. An absolutely monstrous team or a game there by Wolfe County Blue for the win.
That's awesome. All right. Who are we gonna go get?
I'd say get Cody.
Yeah.
That Penta alone just would have.
Definitely.
You want me to go grab Cody?
I can go grab him if you want.
I'll get it.
I'll go there anyway.
Okay, we are back here with our post-game interview with our player of the game, Cody Sargent. Congratulations, good win, good victory. So, the big story of the match, the pentakill.
Yeah,
That was a little unexpected. That's what I was getting ready to say. What were you thinking during the match?
Well, at first we was down like 6 kills. It was a little rough. I was like, this ain't going well. But for some reason, every time we lose first blood or we're down a couple kills, for some reason we always make it come back.
So, describe your team's communication. That seems to be the key to your victory is your trust and your communication with each other.
Cameron's our shot call, and whatever he says, we go because we trust him and we trust his calls, and it hasn't failed us since.
So, you finished this match at
12-2.
12-2. Impressive run.
Over 100 CS higher than almost everybody.
Yes. So, congratulations. I'll let you get back in there, get ready for game 2. So, Wolves Blue pulling out the victory against Johnson Central. We'll be back with you in just a few minutes with round 2.
Thank you.